What will happen if the Bali volcano blows? Bali's Mount Agung volcano is set to blow at any minute, but if it does, what will an eruption look like? The Indonesian island of Bali is home to some 4.2 million people. Authorities have evacuated some 75,000 people in danger zones surrounding the Mount Agung volcano. 30 miles southwest of it is the island's capital, Denpasar, as well as a busy international airport. The volcano has been quiet for almost 5 decades, but last week 700 tremors were detected in a single day. Experts, as well as the Indonesian government, believe this to be a sign that Mount Agung is ready to erupt. If it does erupt, the resulting current of superheated gas, known as a pyroclastic flow, would pose a danger to anyone nearby. That gas is said to be one of the most deadly threats from any potential eruption. It is made up of volcanic matter such as ash and rocks and can travel up to 450 miles per hour. Mount Agung stands at over 3,100 meters tall. That's more than 4 times the size of the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa. However, any resulting ash cloud from an eruption could stretch to heights of 10,000 meters or higher. This would create chaos and danger for flights in and around Indonesia and other nearby countries. Eruptions of this scale can create major problems for airplanes. Volcanic ash clouds are also made up of small fragments of rock, known as tephra. When these are sucked into an aircraft's jet engine, they freeze and merge together and stop the blades from moving. This results in engine failure. The last time Mount Agung erupted was in 1963, and the resulting catastrophe killed more than 1,000 people. Stick around for more on natural disasters.
Yeah, this is a great time to mow your lawn. A photo of a very determined man in Canada mowing his lawn while a large tornado approached behind him has attracted plenty of attention on social media. The tornado was sighted near a town called Three Hills in Alberta. Prior to the incident, local resident Dionysus Vessels reportedly told his wife Cecilia that he wanted to mow the lawn ahead of a busy weekend. Cecilia was later woken from a nap by her 9-year-old daughter, who was upset that there appeared to be something like a tornado in the sky, and her dad wouldn't come inside. Since the Vessels have never seen a tornado in their lives, Cecilia took a picture of the incident to show her parents back home in South Africa. But people were less fascinated by the tornado than they were by the image of her husband pushing a lawnmower while the twister loomed behind him. But Diana seemed unconcerned, saying he was keeping an eye on it. Luckily, no injuries were reported from the tornado. Diana said the tornado was actually far away, and he succeeded in finishing cutting the grass, commenting that the lawn now looks nice. Dumbo to the rescue. 4 days of heavy rain in Nepal led to flash floods and landslides that resulted in at least 70 people dying. Around 600 tourists were also left stranded after the Rapti River overflowed south of Kathmandu. Luckily for them, the pachyderms of Chitwan National Park are on it. The park's elephants marched alongside tractor-trailers on Sunday to rescue some 300 stranded tourists. The gentle giants went back a second time on Monday, transporting the rest of the victims to safety. Chitwan National Park is home to more than 600 rhinos and elephants, and fared much better than another park in India's Assam state, which was also beset by floods. Kaziranga National Park has the world's largest population of endangered one-horned rhinos, but the animals had to be moved to higher ground after floods submerged nearly 90% of the park in water. The catastrophic Boston Molasses disaster of 1919. It's been referred to as the Great Molasses Flood, the day a tank filled with more than 2 million gallons of molasses burst and swept through the streets of Boston, swallowing everything in its path. The exact reason for what caused the tank to blow has yet to be known, but cheap materials, faulty maintenance, and weather conditions largely factored into the extent of the damage done. Reports indicate that on January 15, 1919, the weather in Boston was a cool 41 degrees Fahrenheit, unseasonably warm for that time of year. The open hearth steel iron tank, stationed over the city's North End neighborhood, stood 50 feet tall and measured 90 feet in diameter. The tank had been filled 29 times before and had received 2.3 million gallons of molasses from Puerto Rico 2 days prior to the disaster. Apparently, basic safety procedures weren't adhered to. After so many leaks had occurred, the tank was painted brown to hide the leaks. A steep price for the neglect was paid when on that fateful afternoon, rivets burst along the side of the tank. Locals said it sounded like a machine gun firing. Suddenly, the top of the tank blew off, and its circular iron walls ripped apart, pulled in opposite directions. That's when 26 million pounds of warm molasses were unleashed upon the city, moving at a speed of roughly 35 miles per hour. Some reports at the time indicated that a 40-foot wave of syrup oozed through the streets, crushing buildings and overturning vehicles. The molasses was so powerful, it was able to knock an elevated rail off its tracks, as well as pick up a truck and hurl it into the Boston Harbor. Horses, dogs, and humans were swept up and scattered through the city. The molasses waist deep. Their attempts to struggle and escape the sticky molasses only proved to worsen their plight. The frosty winter caused the molasses to cool faster than it would have in the summer, severely impeding rescue efforts. The disaster claimed the lives of 21 people and left 150 badly injured. Nearly a century later, the exact cause of the tank's failures remain unknown, but fermentation, hasty construction, and thin, brittle steel walls have been suspected as reasons for its undoing.
Houston, we have a problem.
Life-threatening floods devastated Houston following record-breaking rainfall from Hurricane Harvey. Here's how it got so bad. Houston's proximity to the Gulf Coast makes it susceptible to storms. It's also flat and prone to flooding, since the water has nowhere to go. The city once had wetlands that acted as sponges to absorb excess water. But urban sprawl meant that much of the green spaces have been covered with concrete, which is more water resistant. There are stormwater drains to catch the flow of rainwater, but these are largely outdated and cannot handle high volumes. Building regulations in Houston are also not as strict, which leads to many flood-prone residential structures being built in flood zones. Some experts believe climate change may have also worsened Hurricane Harvey. And with worsening weather in our future, Houston's situation emphasizes the need for stricter flood control measures, especially in coastal cities. At least 138 dead after powerful earthquake hit central Mexico. Tragedy and disaster have struck Mexico for the second time in less than 2 weeks. A 7.1 magnitude earthquake killed at least 138 people in central Mexico on Tuesday and left millions without power. According to the Los Angeles Times, 44 buildings collapsed and 30 people were killed in Mexico City. Soldiers, police officers, and firefighters, as well as residents, are working to save people from damaged buildings. Earlier this month, an 8.1 magnitude earthquake killed 98 people in southern Mexico.